See? All right. Awesome. Hello, everybody. Thanks so much for tuning in. This is Online with Orion. Hopefully you all are meant to be here. I imagine you are. I'm Lizzie Duncan, for reference. I'm a junior here at Virginia Tech, so I'm a student. I'm studying math and statistics. This is my third year in Orion. We're so excited to be holding this virtual event in place of our usual preview weekend that I know many of you signed up for and that we had to cancel. But we hope that you and all your loved ones are staying safe and healthy during this time. But we really can't wait to show you what Orion is all about. Just the order of events today, we're going to have a brief overview from our students, our outreach team, about what Orion is and what you can expect from the community. Then we'll open up the floor to you all to ask some questions about Orion and whatever questions you may have left over from our PowerPoint slide. And then we'll get into some separate Zoom breakout rooms by your colleges where you can talk to students in your college and even faculty. We have some amazing professors and advisors who are with us today that you can also kind of pick their brains about Virginia Tech and get to know them more as well. So we invite you to turn on your cameras if you're comfortable. If not, totally fine, but we do ask that you keep your mics muted if you're not speaking, just so we can reduce background noise, because we currently have 51 people and that can be a lot. So I'm really excited that we have so many people in this Zoom room. Hopefully Zoom keeps up with all of it. Fingers crossed. But now I want to turn it over to my outreach team, my awesome team that has been working together for many months to put this together, and they'll kind of show you what Orion is all about.
Hello, so my name's Hannah Wojciak. Everyone calls me Hannah Wojo. I am also a junior here at Tech. I'm a wildlife conservation major. This is my third year in Orion. I'm the co-outreach coordinator, so I'm Lizzie's right-hand man to help her with anything and everything she needs.
I'm Sarah Honaker. I'm a sophomore and I'm a public health major and a part of the outreach team.
I'm David Griffith. I'm a statistics major. I'm also a sophomore and I'm also part of the outreach team.
Hi, my name is Cecile Trevino and I am a wildlife conservation major and this is my sophomore year.
Hey all, my name is Riley Myers. I'm a sophomore. I'm double majoring in biology and wildlife conservation and I'm part of the outreach team.
Hi, I'm Joseph White. I'm a sophomore in wildlife conservation, and I'm also on the outreach team.
I got a big wildlife conservation rep on the outreach team. Not really sure how that happened.
So Steven's mic doesn't work, but he is a he's a physics major, a sophomore, and also part of the outreach team.
Yeah, these are silent contributions.
Yeah. Okay, so welcome to Online with Orion. Next slide. So this first image, you're going to see a whole lot in Orion. It's all these little fish working together to create the first year experience. So next slide. And then here we kind of go over all of the roles in Orion. So at the bottom, you'll see first year students. That will be you guys. And then above you, you have mentors. So you'll be in a group of 3 to 4. The mentors guide you through your first year based off their first year experiences. They also have specialty roles such as outreach, like we're doing right now, communications, and events. The mentors are then led by their super mentors, who are all led by a mentor coordinator. And this is overseen by our director and our assistant director. And this is probably the biggest part of our community. We also have first year experience TAs that lead our class, citizen science leadership team that will lead projects in the spring, and we'll get into that later. And then all the way on the right, you can see all of our upper class leadership teams that don't fall in that. One of them is House Cup. And so we'll get into all of those later on. And then this is just some images of all of the leaders we have in the community. So it really shows how many people are involved to make this the best first year experience possible. So the objectives of Orion, peer mentoring, like I said, is probably one of the biggest parts. So you'll have a mentor, a group of 3 to 4, and you meet weekly. You also work in this group for your citizen science projects. So it's probably, like I said, our biggest thing. Peer networking to connect students to opportunities and resources. So we do a lot of this through our class, events. You meet a lot of faculty. It opens up research opportunities. Other ways to get involved on campus. We also introduce resources through like our class, where we have a partnership with Hokie Wellness to worry about your mental health. Also any research opportunities, tutoring you can get on campus. We also want to create a sense of belonging and connection at this large institution. So it's really easy to gloss on how huge campus like Virginia Tech, but our goal is to make you feel like you do have a place, you do have purpose. So yeah, we really feel passionately about that. We also wanted to develop transdisciplinary skills through hands-on experience. So we get a lot of that in our citizen science projects, also within our class with resume building. So yeah. Yeah, so this goes over all of the classes that we have. So you start on the Successful Starts in Science, and that's our first year class. Our peer mentors also have a Leadership in Science class. And then our ULT, which is our first year experience TA, Citizen Science Leadership Team, and our upper leadership team, they all have meetings or their own classes where they work to develop all the stuff going on. Yeah, so this kind of gets into our COS class, our Successful Starts in Science class. That's your first year experience class. Some of the things we work on is peer mentoring and networking, academic and professional development. So we'll have guest speakers come in and speak. We also do resumes, like I mentioned earlier, service learning and science outreach. So we try to go back out into the community and give, provide a service. We do, I think it's Kids Tech. That's one of the science learning and science outreach things we do and are a part of. We also have citizen science projects in the spring. So in the fall, this class is prepping you on things like scientific literature reviews, all the technical trainings that you'll need to complete your project. And we also talk about the integration of learning, so how science fits in with identity, diversity, and ethics.
Yeah, so like Sarah mentioned, one of the things we like to focus on at Orion is working with our community in Blacksburg. And one of the big ways we do that is through outreach with programs like the Virginia Tech Science Festival, Kids Tech University, and the Virginia Tech Science Olympiad. Basically, we'll go out and set up a stall. Oh, you go back? Okay, yeah. Basically, we'll go back and set up a stall because one of the things we try to do is we try to like encourage science in younger students just so they can see how like cool it is with different experiments, as well as educate them about like Virginia Tech and Blacksburg. Another big thing we like to focus on is our professional development. So the different ways we'll do this is we'll work with the Smith Career Center. You'll work with a resume. You'll have professors come and talk to you. There's events like the faculty where professors will come in. You can talk to them personally. Basically, it teaches you how to interact on a professional level and meet to make different opportunities for yourself. And like Sarah mentioned, for the second semester, your group will focus more on citizen science projects, which can include anything between like building a rocket and launching it, food sensor evaluation tests with kombucha, or like water quality research. The focus of this is to apply all the things you learned in the first semester and learn to work in an integrated group in professionals. A lot of these projects will work with professors or professionals in the field, so you get a feel for what it's actually like to do hands-on research. So one more thing is, outside of like just science itself, our community is very engaged. We have a lot of very active members. One of the things people worry about sometimes is that they have their hands full with Orion, but that's not the case. You have a lot of opportunities to do a lot of different things. We have a very diverse community.
All right, so there are a variety of upperclassmen leadership roles in Orion. And the first one that I'm going to tell you guys about is alumni networking. So our alumni networking leaders focus on talking to people who have already graduated tech and have left Orion and getting them to share their experiences with you and giving you the ability to interact with them. And then next we have our wellness team, who focus on kind of just making sure that everybody in the community is mentally well, that they are taking care of themselves, that you are being mindful, that you are practicing self-care, and they're just really there to support you and make sure that you are like personally okay. And then we have our house competition coordinators. So Orion has 4 houses, 1 for each floor, and our house competition coordinators organize events for the houses to compete against each other to see who can get the most points by the end of the semester. Then we have our diversity and inclusion ULT, who help to kind of show the diversity that is present in science, show you guys and people who are represented to help make sure you get represented, and just to encourage a lot of diversity and inclusion in the community and in the science field. Then we have our engagement coordinators, who help to kind of plan events to bring the community together. So in this picture, they went on a really fun hike. I think that's Bald Knob, which is a really beautiful place. And they just help build the community together and give you fun things to participate in. And we have our RAs, our amazing, amazing RAs, and they are responsible for kind of taking care of each of their floors in the hall, and they respond to any emergencies. They like look after you guys and they'll check in on you, and they just make sure that the living situation in the building is just like functioning as a whole. And then that's a picture of pretty much the whole community all together at our welcome event at the beginning of the semester when you guys move in. This thing.
That's basically it. Did you guys have any questions?
Feel free to say them out loud, put them in the chat, whatever.
Yeah.
So we have one question. Is Residence Hall East only for members of Orion?
Yes.
Yeah.
So the entire building is entirely Orion students. Freshmen will all live in New Residence Hall East, but if you stay in the community and move up as you go on, you will have the option to live off campus, but you can always still stay in New Res.
The mentors also are required to stay on campus with you. So.
This is also nice because it means that I'm sure many of you are pretty familiar with the housing crises that have been going on with tech, and if you're in Orion, it means you have a place to live your freshman year and you will not be booted into a hotel.
Oh, we have another question. What is it like taking the extra Orion class on top of a regular schedule? The Orion class is only 1 credit and it is very manageable.
Also, all of the assignments are supposed to be helping you like along the way and helping you to have a more successful first year. So it's not something that's supposed to be a lot for you.
Just to add on to your point also, that the housing crisis should not be like last year. Just FYI, should not be as severe as last year. So
regardless, it's not a worry for any of you.
Yeah, just getting from the housing side. So just to fill you in.
So another question we have is, oh, hold on, sorry, hold on. How many people are there in a room at Orion? Can we view the room online? So for all the rooms in Orion, they're 2-person, but New Residence Hall East is suite style, so you'll have one room with another person, but then you'll have 1 to 2 other rooms full of 2 other people. So there will be about 4 to 6 people total in your suite.
And we got another question if it's random or by major. So it's all random. You're not one major on one floor. However, a cool thing we do have is our house cup competition. So the floors are divided by color and named after a famous scientist. and you can go to the events and competitions to help your floor earn points. So that's something we just got with University of Cal East.
Also, a question that got missed earlier was about how you find a roommate for someone in Orion. Basically, over the summer, you'll get a notification that you'll have a window to sign up for a roommate, and you'll fill in information about like your preferred living situation, like when do you tend to sleep, like what are you comfortable with, and you can use that to match with other people as well. There's also like a messaging system through Starres for that, which is a site you'll become familiar with as you move in.
Just to add on to that, I know a lot of people use Facebook to find their roommates as well, which I did my freshman year.
So we're also getting a question about how we plan to proceed if we're not on campus and we're online. I think that's something that we're still all figuring out. But again, the goal will be to make it the best first year experience possible.
And the university is not going to make a decision until June, so we really can't give any information before that. It all depends on how the virus evolves. Obviously, the university would rather have in-person classes, though. That's definitely a priority for the university. But it just all depends on what happens when everyone goes back to work. So.
And just for clarification, Bradley is one of our wonderful RAs, just joining us.
Yeah, so I'm more on the housing end of things. So if you have specific questions for that, there's also I'm a major in meteorology with minors in math, GIS, and geography. So if you have any major related questions to that, or have just curiosity questions about the community, I'll be a rising senior this fall. So if you have any questions and on that end of things, please feel free to ask those.
Yes, we love Brad. He's an awesome RA. We've got some other awesome students that you've also been hearing from that are popping in, which I'm really excited they're all here hanging out with us. And we'll also get into breakout rooms later to talk about, major specific questions, college specific questions, and you can really, get all the questions that you want answered. Carry on, let the questions fly.
Go ahead.
I was just going to point out that we had a question saying what was one of the best things and one of the worst things about Orion. So that's kind of an experience-based question. So if you guys all want to chime in and answer your personal, most challenging and most beneficial part of Orion.
Well, I'm also just joining. So hi, I'm Kat. I'll be a super mentor in the fall. But I'm from out of state. I'm from Connecticut. So coming to Tech was like a really big experience for me because it's so far from home. And what Orion gave to me was just like a really nice core group of friends because it is a big university and the transition into college is hard and different for everyone. So having Orion and having that 200 of your closest friends with you on the ride was really, really nice and beneficial.
I'll chime in on that too. I'm also from out of state, so I agree with Kat that it was very beneficial to have a building that everyone who you live with has something in common, even if it's just as simple as a science major.
I can chime in on that too, since I'm from Massachusetts. I knew absolutely no one going to Tech. And, since most people are from Virginia, people are like, yeah, I have 200 people from my school that goes here. And I'm like, I have no one. So I feel like Orion really gave me a community to go back to, and I got most of my group of friends, which is nice.
Go ahead.
I definitely found part of Orion for me was the mentor groups and just having that small, close, tight-knit group of people to work through our problems together and to have our mentor there to support us. And I think that was the best part of it for me.
The mentor group is definitely very helpful, and it's very nice to just have that core group. Also, I just found that it was very nice because I came from a smaller school setting. So coming to Tech, where it's massive, having the group of Orion was really nice.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think it's the opportunities for me. So we meet a lot of faculty, make connections, and I think that's really cool that we do that. They asked what our worst thing was, and I said the worst part for me was the competition. But we actually just created a wellness team this past year, and I think that really helps with lifting the spirits of everyone and keeping everyone's mental health in check. So we're constantly finding problems, and students are bringing them up and giving ideas of how we can fix that. So we're constantly changing, adapting, and making it better.
Just in case you are not seeing the chat, I just wanted to bring up a good question. Someone asked a question about how manageable is it to be in Orion and also to be in ISC. So if you don't know what ISC is, that's the integrated science curriculum. Basically, it just takes your freshman, you dedicate your freshman and sophomore year to just taking a bunch of like the core science classes like physics, chemistry, biology. And that's a very manageable thing. A lot of Orion students do that. We have a lot of Orion students who are in ISC. That's something I would bring up with your advisor though, whether or not you want to pursue the ISC curriculum, just simply because it kind of depends on what your major of pursual is. Like I considered ISC coming in as a freshman, but for me, it just didn't really make a whole lot of sense. And it kind of worked out that I didn't, because I ended up switching.
The nice thing about ISC too is also math is integrated in it. So if you're a life science major, that means not going to the math info, which is positive. So.
There was a question about picking roommates or picking rooms when you have a roommate. So in that StarRes portal, you'll have you'll be able to form a roommate group with you and your roommate. Your roommate will have to accept the invitation that you send to them. And then once it comes out, you'll get a list of rooms that are open to you. And you can just choose one of those rooms. So like for me this year it was room 242. So I chose room 242 and I was able to drag my roommate in with me and put them in the, because it'll give you an option to assign like bed A or bed B. And so you can assign yourself one of the beds and then you can drag your roommate in with you and assign them to the other bed. And then it prevents both of you needing to fill out that room request form. But that'll make a little more sense in like a month or so when you're actually picking your rooms.
And there was a question about when, and the truth is we don't know when yet. I still haven't been assigned my room. I don't think mentors have had the opportunity to pick their rooms either since I haven't been assigned my room yet. Things are a little bit more delayed than normal underneath the circumstances, but I wouldn't expect anything in terms of room picking until at least late May or early June.
Yeah, just keep an eye on your email for that information. They'll send it out to you.
That's a good point. You definitely need to be reading your emails around now.
And just to be clear, your VT email, not just your personal email, but you need to be your VT email.
We had a question about if you defer your semester to spring, will you still be part of Orion if you get accepted?
That is something I believe you should probably reach out to our director, Lori Blanc. I'm typing her email into the chat right now. You should reach out to her because that's a very specific situation.
Yeah.
So you should reach out to her and explain your situation, why that would be happening, and she can let you know whether or not we can work with you on that, because we don't make those decisions. That's ultimately her decision. I put her email in the chat, so you can reach out to her and let her know what's going on. She can help you out.
Yeah, she's wonderful.
All right, we have a question about the order of room selection. Is it first come, first serve, or alphabetical? And it is essentially first come, first serve. They have our RAs get assigned to rooms first, and then the mentors will get to pick rooms, and then after that they'll open it up for you guys and you all get to first just come in and pick rooms.
But it comes in like windows. It's not like everybody's going at it at once. I think that would crash the system. You have like,
it's like random windows.
Yeah, you have like a couple day window that'll open up and it's like staggered. So some people will have this period of time, some people will have this period of time.
And on the subject of suite mates, your so I don't know if this was explained, but it should be 2 mentors and 4 first years, or two second years and 4 first years in the suite. So the mentors will have already picked their rooms. So when you go in and decide on your rooms, you can't, it's not necessarily going to be 6 first years in a suite, but you can definitely go in and decide, okay, this is the suite I'm going in for, and then just be on top of room selection is the best way I can do it. A lot of times for the mentors, we'll kind of go through and try to call dibs. If that's something you want to try in the first years, it's not necessarily something I would recommend, but definitely communicate with people for your suite mates in terms of getting into the suite altogether, because it's not something you can just pull in like a roommate. It's something you would have to decide like as a group to go in on a group of rooms in a suite. And you're allowed mini fridges in the room. There's a common fridge in the kitchens, in the hall.
There's a kitchen on each floor of the building, just to clarify on that.
Yes, there's a kitchen on.
So someone asked about meal plans. So we have the smaller one, the medium one, larger. I don't remember the exact names for them. However, I would recommend getting the smallest one because it ends up being cheaper and you can just keep adding money to it. So I would go with the smaller one.
I did. Someone asked if there was, so they asked about the freshman orientation class, that's 1 credit, and the Orion orientation class, that's 1 credit. I will say that your majors typically have like FYE courses as well, but your Orion class can supplement for those. So I would talk with your advisor and see if that's something you can do. I ended up taking a lot of first year experience credits my first semester here. And I didn't have to. I could have just used the Orion one.
It depends on the major with that, though, because I know some majors do require you to take their specific first year experience course. But
so I would speak to your advisor just to clarify that.
One of the main ones that does not allow the Orion class, at least historically, to replace has been animal science. But I actually think we are getting rid of the animal science first year experience class now anyway. So that's going to be something that's evolving and would be good to talk to your advisor about for sure.
I don't think math major's going to substitute it either.
Yeah. So next question, Lauren, don't feel dumb. You just have to add that email to your, I'm not going to be the person to explain it, but I just want to say you're not dumb.
And if you are having trouble, definitely reach out to VT for help. They're so incredible and they walk you through everything and it's so nice. Like I cannot toot their horn enough. If you're having trouble re-accessing your email, if you forget your password or anything like that, please, please, please just contact them. They're going to be way more helpful than any of us trying to explain how to re-access your email, because we've all been in that position.
If it's just a thing you just don't know where to go yet, a short answer is, I don't know if you've already tried this. Go to Gmail, type your PID that you made, and then add @vt.edu to it, and then put your password in, and it should send you a push thing. That should work. But again, if not, none of us are really, well, I mean, some of us are kind of pretty IT savvy. I'm not, so just go to For Help.
The one who is IT savvy got muted because their mic
Yeah,
broke.
our one guy is he's mute, so he can sign it probably. Just learn sign language real quick. You got it, Steven. So we have questions saying, how often do people actually end up using the kitchen, and what does it have in terms of appliances? Take it away.
Actually, I feel like there's always someone cooking something in the kitchen.
Yeah.
So they are utilized. It's totally up to you if you use them or not. I can't cook, so I don't, but a lot of people do. In terms of appliances, there's a big fridge with the freezer, a microwave, a toaster. I've heard there's not a toaster in every single one of them, but there should be, and a stove. Did I say that?
There's a stovetop and an oven.
Yes.
And then it has it's a big kitchen freezer or fridge and freezer. Toaster, microwave.
A sink.
A sink.
A sink.
And in terms of appliances, they're not really, I mean, people kind of just sometimes will leave their appliances and will be willing to share theirs, but we don't that would be we don't provide appliances in the cooking like devices there. You'd have to bring your own like cooking like saucepan and bowls.
Utensils.
Yeah, he means utensils.
Someone asked about, is there a major penalty if you have to miss a day of class? So all that will be gone over the first day of class in the syllabus. And I think if it's like an emergency, it's excused normally, and you do a lot of the contacting with the TA, and then if they have a question, they'll bring it to our director.
Yeah, but make sure you like explain the reason beforehand if you can. It'll just make things easier. Because like one time I had the flu and I forgot to email beforehand, so that was interesting for a little bit.
Yeah, that goes for every class. Your professors are going to be understanding that life happens. And so sometimes you can't go to class. But for Orion, participation in class is a part of the grade. It's a small part. So we encourage you to go to class and hold you accountable for doing that because you all are adults. But yeah, that's kind of a standard across all of your college classes. There are no bad questions. You can talk about the dorms, ask about Virginia Tech, the application process.
Baker is killing it in the comments answering questions.
Yeah.
So if you didn't catch what we said, just read that.
Yeah, and just to add on to it, like professors don't want you to fail. They want to see you succeed. So
There was a question about suitemates not being a part of Orion. If you are a part of Orion, you are staying in New Residence Hall East with all other members of Orion. You're not going to be mixing with other people in the dorm, but it is definitely beneficial to reach out outside of it because Orion's a good base and it will provide you with so much, but definitely branching out as well is helpful. Especially just like, you're going to hear this a lot, but just get involved on campus. It's going to be super helpful. You'll find some good friends outside of Orion as well, and you'll be able to experience different things with different people. And there's really nothing wrong with that. It's just you won't be living with them for that first year.
So I saw a question about what floor would you recommend and what are the names of houses. I think we're all going to be partial to our own floor. But so our first floor is Da Vinci, and it's
first floor is Curie, second floor is Da Vinci.
Okay, Curie, Da Vinci, and then Hawking and Johnson.
Yeah.
Johnson, yeah.
I'm personally partial to Da Vinci as I'm the house club coordinator for that floor.
I am also partial to Da Vinci. Go Da Vinci. I'm an OG Da Vinci member before we even had floors, so.
I'm also a little partial because they were my residents. Maddie was my resident this year. I think anyone else that oh, Joe's here, who's also my
first floor, best floor. That's all I'm saying.
So
floor, best floor.
See, I'm split. I lived both on the fourth floor and the first floor.
Yeah. Sorry.
There is a question about things that you like to do on campus. It does look like a lot of you are answering that in the chat, but if you guys, I think that's a good thing to talk about, like what are some things that our outreach team and our present Orion members, what are things you like to do on campus, and give people some ideas for when they get here.
Someone asked about the mattress size. They're all twin XL.
Yes. So personally, I'm involved in a lot of clubs and activities. So I'm part of Saving Hearts Foundation, American Medical Student Association, Volunteers Around the World, Red Cross Club. So I really like to be involved with other clubs. And Saving Hearts Foundation, you'll see a lot of Orion people are in that because one of our Orion members had founded the club, or two of them had. So, and then if just like doing things on campus, I love the Han Horticulture Garden. I like walking there. I like taking pictures of it. I like going at night when the lights are on. So that's my favorite place to be.
There's just a lot of great places to walk if you're into that. I definitely do that a lot. There's like a lot of different clubs, and so that's another really good thing to look into.
There's also this, okay, if you're like into like naturalist stuff and like hiking, there's a hike that like not a lot of people I think know about. It's pretty recent that they've done this, but you can walk. So like some of the major areas in Blacksburg is like Heritage Park, Pandapis Pond, and you can like hike the Gateway Trail through the National Forest, and it like connects those two really major like visiting sites for people. I highly recommend it. It's a long walk though. So mountain biking, if you're into mountain biking, that'd be a good option. Maybe you know, if you're gonna hike it, you might want to bring it.
There's been a couple of questions about AC and weather. The AC and heat, it kind of varies. It can
varies
be
by floor.
Yeah, it can be a little hotter on the 4th floor. It can be a little cooler on days where you might maybe want it to be hotter. The temperature in the building is not the most reliable, but it's certainly helpful in those first few months where it's insufferably humid and hot. Which I wouldn't trade it for the world, but it is like that.
I lived on campus for 2 years without air conditioning.
I was her roommate.
Yeah, and so now we moved into a new building which has air conditioning that does work. It's a big building, so it's, you know, going to be finicky, but you do have AC that you get to control for your suite, and you have heating that is controlled by the university, but you do have some say in the temperature of your room if you like it cold.
Like it's set when they'll turn the heat on and when they'll turn the AC on. So like it was a little warm. I'm still in Blacksburg and still in the dorm, and it was very, very warm for many days, and the heat was still on, and that was not fun. But it's not the biggest deal in the world. And there was also a question about weather, and the best answer I can give you is it depends. Sometimes it gets like really cold very quickly, and sometimes it stays warm almost until November. Like
So,
it's variable.
To chime in on the weather, I know Kat is from Connecticut, so when she says it's very hot and humid, I'm from the South. Y'all that are from the South, Blacksburg is awesome. It's up in the mountains, so it's not nearly as humid as the rest of Virginia is, at least in my opinion.
Yes.
I live in Central Virginia. I've lived in Tidewater, Virginia. I've lived in Georgia, Florida, North Carolina. The mountains are cool in comparison. Like,
if it had to be without, so you'd be fine.
Even without air conditioning, like you can go on a hike in August. Like you don't have to be inside all day. It's nice. It's pretty nice, I think.
Yeah, I was gonna add on to that it's, you know, the weather honestly is probably the prettiest in like September, I would say. So like even if you weren't in Orion and had to live in a place without AC, it's only bad for like the first 2 weeks, I would say, and then after that it's not. You'll be fine. There was a question on here about thermostats in each suite. There are kind of, I don't like to call them thermostats. They're more like how hot or how cold do you want your so you can't really control the temperature, but you can control how like hard it's blowing. Yeah. So because the AC and heat are centralized, so you can control how much AC or how much heat do you want, but you can't really control, you know, if it's AC or heat, if that makes sense.
I just want to bring up something. Sorry to pull us away from weather/AC, but someone asked something about max credits, and Stephen answered it in the chat. But if you didn't see it, you can take 19 credits per semester, and they were worried about if they have if they have the max amount of credits and then they want to add on Orion, you can go over. So you can apply for overload on your credits. And I wouldn't recommend doing that, especially in your freshman year. If you can keep your credits down, definitely do that because you're gonna have a lot going on and a lot of adjusting. I really would not recommend overloading the first 2 semesters. I wouldn't really recommend it at all. I've done it, it's not that fun. Stephen can probably attest, it's really not great. But you can, if that's something that like it's gonna prevent you from being in the community, if you don't overload, you can absolutely do that. Just talk with your advisor.
Okay, we've got most people here. Yeah, I just wanted to thank you guys so much for coming to Online with Orion. We're so excited that we can meet with everybody virtually this year. We're definitely very lucky that we have access and the privilege to use this platform to get to know all of you better. I really enjoyed getting to see everybody's faces and to hear from all of you. This kind of concludes everything that we have for you guys today. So you are more than welcome to hop off feel free to follow our social medias. Just Google Orion LLC and you'll find us. And definitely feel free to email me or Hannah or our director. Our emails are in the chat, so we will be happy to answer any and all questions that you might still have. But yeah, thank you so much, guys, for coming today, and thank you to our amazing Virginia Tech faculty that joined us and the Orion students that helped us out. And we're really excited that all of you could attend. Stay safe, stay healthy, stay sane. Good luck finishing out the rest of your year.
We're so excited to have you here soon.
Woohoo!
Orion, it really made my freshman experience, and sure, we love to have you guys next year. So
yeah, I'm loving all of this. Have a good day, everybody. I'll hang around if you have any other questions, but you're free to log off and do your thing. Enjoy your weekend.
There's a question about
as far as meetings coming up. No, I'm gonna say no. I don't really know. If you'd like to meet one of us, you please email Lizzie or I, and we can set up a meeting with anybody that you'd like. Like if you're like, oh man, Steven was cool as heck and I want to talk to him, email us and we will get you in contact with Steven.
Yeah,
that follows for anybody else.
Yes.
Yeah, he probably won't answer you.
Thrilled that he was volunteered for this.
Yeah, but we don't have anything formal. But
fix the mic first.
Fix the mic.
You said it, Darian.
Yeah, so again, just email Lizzie or I, and we can make sure that you can either meet up, like we can meet with you via Zoom or calling, texting, email, whatever you want. I'm mad at this headset.
Alrighty. Let's see. Okay, well, if there are no other last minute questions, I'll go ahead and end this for everybody. Let's get to your weekends. Bye, everybody.
Bye, guys. It's so good to see you, Lizzie, and everyone.
You too. Bye, Brad. I miss you.